Hi guys, so I did question 1, how and why did Claudius, the fool of his family, become the Divine Claudius? Well, okay, sorry. So Claudius was a man of integrity, patriotism, determination, and individuality. He is known to this day as one of Rome's greatest emperors. However, Claudius was always seen as an unlikely ruler, one that would have no hope or chance to ever make something of himself because of the way he was born. Like, he had a slight disability. He was born with cerebral palsy. So life growing up for him was really harsh because of his appearance and the way he acted. Like, he did some things with his neck. He would always like flick it and twitch it. When he got angry, he would foam at the mouth, and he would always like stutter. So life growing up for him was really harsh. He was always judged and never well respected. But it kind of proves the saying it kind of proves the saying never judge a book by its cover, because he grew up, like, he went up to be an emperor and one of Rome's greatest emperors, and he actually contributed so much to the greatness of the empire. So yeah, basically, getting to his biography now. On the first of August 10 BC, Tiberius Claudius Drusus was born in Comata Lugdunum, today known as Lyons, France. He was born in the Julio-Claudian dynasty. He's the son of Nero Drusus and Antonia. Antonia was actually the daughter of Antony and Octavia, giving Claudia royal blood, which is kind of cool. Anyway, when he was born, he was said he had to look sickly and had quite an ugly appearance. And like I said before, because of his appearance and a slight disability, life growing up for him was never pleasant. He was rejected by his own family and would be mocked by many. His mother being the worst, actually, who would mock him, which is terrible. Anyway, poor Claudius was always the receiving end of a bad and a practical joke, and was never taken seriously or shown much respect. He was even denied the position to succeed Tiberius as emperor because the monarchical family saw him unfit for office. However, Augustus, go champ, saw Claudius as a real person and granted him a non-governmental priesthood position. And from there, Claudius was trained as a scholar by the historian Livy. He ended up writing quite a lot of works, both historical and literate, in Greek and Latin. Unfortunately, his works, haven't survived, but there was a few fragments and inscriptions that were left over that could give us an insight into how he thought and the life of him. But even with his position as a scholar, he was still considered a fool and kept himself out of the public eye in order to avoid humiliation, which is fair enough. He's had it his whole life, kind of wants to let it go. Anyway, so Claudius' illness, in a way, actually saved him, because enemies during the reign of Tiberius and Caligula, during the reign of them, actually saved him, because they were like, oh, well, this guy with, like, this disability, or, you know, he's some idiot, he's some fool, like, he's not going to do anything, like, we don't need to worry about him, so, like, why waste the time? And in a way, that was kind of good for him, because he's like, well, I'm not going to die. Anyway, they never saw him as a serious threat. But when Tiberius died in March 37 AD, Caligula, who was Claudia's nephew, preceded him as emperor and made Claudius his consul, along with a horse, but Caligula was crazy. Anyway, however, after a few years, Caligula was assassinated in 41 AD, and hence the movement of Claudius being emperor. He was actually said to be found in the palace room, or like he was behind a curtain, and the Praetorian guards were like going through the place trying to find everyone, the assassins, and they found Claudius behind this curtain, and they pulled him up, and Claudius, thinking he was going to get killed, they were actually all like, no, you're the new emperor. And he was like, what? But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of, they declared him to be emperor, and they made the Senate do so as well, and him being the last heir and all kind of worked out. So Claudius, the fool of his family, was now the emperor of Rome. No one would have ever thought so or believed it, even though it was kind of by, like, you know, chance. Still did it. Cool. Anyway, so Claudius valued the traditions of the old Roman Republic, unlike previous rulers before him, and in doing so, it eventually led to a revolt in the Senate. But he was only a year in, so in this way he favoured the army more. And with the army, he made one of the biggest accomplishments, and that was the expansion of the Roman Empire. In 43 AD, he started the conquest of Britain, and a factor of why he did this was also not for just like wealth and so on and like more land. It was also because he wanted to prove to the people who were like doubting him, because a lot of people were like, well, who's this new guy that's come into town, like who's this new guy who's emperor now? And like Claudius being like this some idiot, like what the hell, like he has nothing to prove, like no, he has everything to prove, like this guy is crazy, like he has no military background, no like soldier, no experience or anything, and he doesn't know anything about battle. So they're like, well, what the hell, you know, like not like Caesar and Augustus and everyone before him who had this major experience and was like really involved in stuff. So they were like, who's that guy? Anyway, so Claudius was like, hell no, and he wanted to prove it. So that was kind of a reason. Yeah, so he saw himself vulnerable, especially in his mobility, so yeah. Anyway, it was smart, like he was intelligent like that. There his troops actually accepted him as a god, but he didn't encourage it. He just he didn't encourage the worship. Instead he said, yo, instead he declared his grandmother, which was Augustus's wife Livia, a goddess. He also did other things, like he captured Camulodunum, and he started a colony of veterans and built client kingdoms to look after this small populated land where they also worshipped him. He then proceeded to conquest North Africa and added Mauritania, Lycia in Asia, Minor, and Thrace in Eastern Europe. He made Judea a Roman province, and he also conquered Iturea, sorry, I'm pronouncing these wrongs, and allowed the province of Syria to control it, avoiding major wars with the Germans, and he accepted the collapse of the pro-Roman government in Armenia rather than going to war with Parthia. So he was a really intelligent man, like he always played it smart and stuff and tried to stay out of the way, like he was cool. And yeah, so like I said before, even after pushing the boundaries of the empire to its greatest by not having any trained experience and being a soldier, proving this, like the people saw that he was making more of a difference, and they like he was trying, and they started to love him, and he started doing like good, like all these conquests and stuff, and expanding the empire. Like they were like, yo, this guy's cool. So he started making more noticeable improvements from then on as well. So a significant effect he made upon the Roman world was influenced by his enlightened judicial and civic reforms, which included the extensions of the Roman citizenships and his policy of colonization of Britain, Germany, and Gaul, which to this day made possible for the survival of the Roman culture. He also encouraged urbanization, which helped the judicial system improve. He increased his control over finances and province management. He also endorsed justice upon slaves and giving them freedom if their masters ever abandoned them. And used his knowledge of Etruscan law, to promote his belief in civic rights of the Gauls. So yeah. Anyway, Claudius had a large amount of honor for the Senate, and he always wanted to do the best, what was best for it. So he ended up improving the Senate by really encouraging him to debate and work and like, get involved and serious about the voting thing. And he also added new patrician families and Gauls in order to have the best political talent available. He wanted to build on the Senate's reputation, making it stronger and more effective than ever before, because it was something he was like really into. He also made a lot of useful laws and carried out several works of importance. Other works of greatness was also delivered by him, such as the completion of the Claudian aqueduct that Caligula started, but because he died, didn't finish it. He also built a lake. He also built a fort and a lighthouse in Ostia and a tunnel from Lake Lacanus to the river Liris. He even restored the temple of Venus Erycina in Sicily. So a lot of the time when he did these things, he was thinking of his people, and by accomplishing his task, he was like, yeah, I hope they love me. I hope they're like, yeah, this guy's cool and stuff. Like he just wanted to earn respect and to show that that he actually really cared about his people. Anyway, so within his reign, he married twice. Before his reign, he also married twice. So he was married 4 times. Player. But no, he was a sucker for love, this guy. So he had 4 wives: Platua, Urgulanilla, I can never say her name, Aelia Paetina, Valeria Messalina, and then Agrippina. So he married Platea in 9 AD, and he then divorced her in 24 AD, and this was for trivial offences. But they had 2 kids, Drusus and Claudius. Sadly, Drusus died when he was 9. He was in a school play and choked on a pear and kind of sucked. Unlucky. Yeah, sorry. And then, what's her name? Aelia, Platea. They got married in 28 AD and then divorced in 31 AD. Because of scandalous lewdness, and the suspicion of murder. So, boom, boom, boom. Anyway, they had a child. They had 1 daughter, actually, Antonia. Yep. And then, my next page, sorry. And then during his reign, before his reign, a few years, in AD 38, he married Messalina. Messalina, and had 2 children with her, and then he continued. Anyway, sorry. So Octavia and Britannicus, and my sheet. Yeah. So Messalina was actually quite a popular wife of his. She actually ended up having a lot of control over him, which resulted in a lot of the deaths in the Roman world, and especially a lot in the Senate, and it didn't really play well with the public, and they were like, what the hell? And he was kind of like, had to always constantly was forced to reinforce up on his position. Anyway, she was just kind of crazy as well, and didn't really help out with him. Sorry, this isn't making sense. But anyway, he soon discovered that she ventured to marry Caecilius, a young Roman knight, so he sent her to her execution in 48 AD. Not nice. Anyway, for shameful and wicked deeds. Yeah, so Claudius then married his niece Agrippina, who was Caligula's sister, the other one, the one that didn't die, obviously. And yeah, Agrippina actually already had, they had no children together, those two, but Agrippina had a son to a former marriage, and his name was Nero, and Agrippina was very persuasive over him, over Claudius, and influential, to the point where she was making him choose a Nero over his own son Britannicus to be his heir designate, so that when he died, he'd become emperor. And so, as soon as he agreed, she was all like, yeah, I gotta plan his murder now. Well, so they said, so that her son could become emperor. Anyway, he started to doubt, and so she was quickly, going into kill him. So, basically, she sent this guy to poison him, and with that, it didn't work the first time, but it did the second time, and with that came the death of Claudius on October 13th, 54 AD. So from then came the new emperor, Nero, at only the age of 17. So although Claudius had died, he was never to be forgotten. After making such a positive difference to the empire with contributions that are still in place today, like his minor laws and waterways, he was bestowed with divine honors, being named Claudius the Divine. He proved that you can't judge a book by its cover, and proved that even though with this slight disability, that all didn't matter. He came out to be pretty cool on top, and he did a lot of good things for the Romans. So, he's considered one of the greats today. So that is why and how Claudius the Fool became Claudius the Divine. So yeah, thanks guys.